Before we dive in, let me ask you something. What if I told you there's a Lincoln pickup truck rarer than a Lamborghini Murcielago? Or that General Motors built railroad pickup trucks that could drive on both roads and train tracks? Yeah, you heard that right. Today, we're counting down 7 of the rarest vintage pickup trucks ever built. Trucks so scarce, most people have never even heard of them, let alone seen one in person. These aren't your typical Ford F-150s or Chevy Silverados. These are the forgotten legends, the production nightmares, and the bold experiments that automakers wish we'd forget. So buckle up, because we're about to uncover some seriously rare metal that'll blow your mind. Let's get started. Number 7. Dodge Lil Red Express Truck, 1978 to 1979. We're kicking off our list with a truck that redefined what a pickup could be in the 1970s, the Dodge Lil Red Express. Picture this. It's 1978. The muscle car era is dead and buried. Emissions regulations have strangled every performance car into submission. But here's where Dodge found a loophole. You see, emissions laws were much more lenient for trucks at the time. So what did Dodge do? They built what was essentially a muscle car disguised as a pickup truck. The Lil Red Express was based on the D150 Adventurer, but this wasn't your grandfather's work truck. It came with a police spec 360 cubic inch V8, pumping out 225 horsepower and 295 pound-feet of torque. Now, those numbers might not sound impressive today, but in 1978, this was as good as it got. In fact, Car and Driver magazine tested it and found it was the fastest American-made vehicle you could buy that year. Let that sink in. Not the fastest truck, the fastest vehicle, period. The truck was impossible to miss with its bright red paint, flashy wood-trim bed rails, chrome stacks poking through the bed, and bold gold pinstriping. Those vertical exhaust stacks weren't just for show either. They gave the truck a distinctive rumble that announced its arrival from blocks away. Dodge only produced the Lil Red Express for 2 model years. They built around 7,000 units total, making them incredibly rare today. Most were driven hard and put away wet, so finding one in good condition is like finding a needle in a haystack. When they do pop up for sale, they typically command over $30,000, and pristine examples can fetch even more. The Lil Red Express proved that even in the darkest days of American automotive performance, creativity, and a good loophole could produce something truly special. Number 6. Studebaker Champ, 1960 to 1964. Ever heard of a pickup truck that shares its front end with a compact car? Well, meet the Studebaker Champ, a truck that's as quirky as it is rare. Studebaker was in financial trouble by 1960. The company needed a new pickup truck, but had a tiny budget of just $900,000 to make it happen. So the engineers got creative. They took a Lark 4-door sedan, literally cut it in half behind the front doors, and grafted the front section onto a 1949-era truck chassis. Talk about making do with what you've got. The result was genuinely innovative. The Champ became one of the first pickup trucks to offer true car-like comfort. It had a wide, comfortable bench seat, a handsomely styled interior, and here's the cool part. It introduced the sliding rear window, which is now standard on just about every pickup truck made today. Studebaker doesn't get nearly enough credit for that innovation. Under the hood, buyers could choose from several engines. The base model came with a 170 cubic inch inline 6, but you could also opt for a bigger 245 cubic inch 6 or step up to V8 power with either a 259 or 289 cubic inch V8. Despite its clever design and comfortable interior, the Champ never caught on with buyers. Studebaker sold fewer than 28,000 units during its entire 5-year production run. Compare that to the hundreds of thousands of Ford and Chevy trucks sold during the same period, and you can see why the Champ is so rare today. The biggest killer of surviving Champs isn't accidents or neglect, it's rust. These trucks had a serious problem with corrosion in the cab floor and front fenders. Most have literally disintegrated over the decades. Finding a rust-free Champ today is exceptionally difficult, making these pioneering pickups some of the rarest American trucks you can find. Restored examples have sold for as much as $49,000, which shows just how much collectors value these unusual survivors. Number 5. Mazda REPU, 1974 to 1977. Now here's a truck that's truly one of a kind, the Mazda Rotary Engine Pickup, or REPU for short. This is the first and only production pickup truck ever powered by a rotary engine. Mazda had a love affair with rotary engines, and in the mid-1970s, they decided to put one in a pickup truck. Why? Because Mazda could, and honestly, we're all better off for it. The REPU was based on the second-generation Mazda B1500 pickup, but featured a 1.3-liter 4-port rotary engine with a 4-barrel carburetor. This little engine could rev to the moon and produced a unique, high-pitched sound that was completely unlike any other truck on the road. To accommodate the rotary engine, Mazda had to get creative with the design. They moved the battery under the bed, gave it a different dashboard, added flared fenders, and equipped it with distinctive round taillights. The REPU also featured rotary engine badging on the sides, so everyone knew this wasn't your average compact truck. The REPU was only sold in the North American market and had a brief production run from 1974 to 1977. In total, only about 15,000 units were ever produced. That's it. Compare that to the millions of conventional pickup trucks sold during the same period, and you realize just how special the REPU is. Today, finding a REPU is like striking gold. Most rotary engine enthusiasts know about the RX-7 and RX-8, but the REPU flies completely under the radar. When they do appear at auctions or for sale, they command serious money from collectors who appreciate their unique place in automotive history. The Mazda REPU represents the kind of bold experimentation we rarely see anymore. It proved that pickup trucks didn't have to be boring, conventional machines. Sometimes being weird is exactly what makes something legendary. Number 4. Jeep J10 Honcho, 1976 to 1983. Before the Wrangler pickup was even a thought, Jeep made some seriously cool trucks. And the rarest of them all? The J10 Honcho with the Stepside bed. The Gladiator and J-Series trucks were Jeep's answer to full-size pickups from Ford, Chevy, and Dodge. These were rugged, capable trucks that could tackle any terrain. But in the late 1970s, during the height of the disco era, Jeep decided to create something special, the Honcho package. The Honcho wasn't just a trim level, it was a lifestyle statement. It came with wide 8x15-inch spoke wheels mounted with aggressive off-road tires, a sports steering wheel. And here's the kicker, a Levi's denim interior. That's right, your truck seats were literally made from the same material as your jeans. But what really set the Honcho apart was its bold graphics. A distinctive gold stripe ran along the bedside, fenders, and tailgate. Combined with the truck's already aggressive stance and optional V8 power, including the massive AMC 401 V8, the biggest engine ever offered in a Jeep pickup, the Honcho was impossible to miss. Now here's where things get really rare. Between 1980 and 1983, Jeep offered the Honcho with a step-side bed instead of the standard wide side. Only 1,264 of these step-side Honchos were ever built. Let me repeat that, just over 1,200. That's less than the number of Dodge Sweptsides or Lincoln Blackwoods produced. Finding any Honcho today is tough. Finding a step-side model in good condition, that's like winning the lottery. These trucks were built to be used and abused off-road, so most of them were beaten to death over rough terrain. The few survivors are highly sought after by Jeep enthusiasts and vintage 4x4 collectors. If you ever come across a Stepside J10 Honcho, don't walk, run to make an offer. You're looking at one of the rarest factory-built Jeep pickups ever made. Number 3. Dodge Sweptside, 1957 to 1959. In the late 1950s, the big three were in an arms race to make the flashiest, most outrageous vehicles possible. Chrome was king, and fins were everything. But one truck stood out even in that era of excess: the Dodge Sweptside. Chevrolet had just introduced the Cameo Carrier, a truck that blended car-like styling with truck utility. Dodge wanted a piece of that action, so they rushed the Sweptside to market in late 1957. But here's the thing, Dodge didn't actually design a new truck. Instead, they took a standard long bed custom cab, grafted on rear quarter panels and a bumper from the Dodge two-door station wagon, and then loaded it up with every shiny piece of chrome trim they could find. The result was a pickup truck with dramatic tail fins, a two-tone paint job, and styling so flashy it made other trucks look boring by comparison. The Sweptside came fully loaded with a V8 engine, automatic transmission, and every luxury option Dodge offered. And here's the catch: each one was essentially hand-built. Dodge never put the Sweptside into regular production. Workers assembled these trucks individually, which made them expensive to produce. The Sweptside was a commercial disaster. It didn't sell well, and Dodge pulled the plug after producing only about 1,200 units. It's said that 90% of these trucks were painted red and white, which gives you an idea of just how limited the color options were. Today, finding a Sweptside is incredibly difficult. Their hand-built bodies mean that replacement parts are nearly impossible to find. Many unique trim pieces were one-offs, making restoration a nightmare. When a decent example does come up for sale, collectors fight over it. The Sweptside represents the peak of 1950s automotive optimism and excess. It was a truck that dared to be different, even if the market wasn't ready for it. Number 2. Lincoln Blackwood 2002. Here's something that'll blow your mind. There's a luxury pickup truck, rarer than a Lamborghini Murcielago, and it was built by Lincoln. The Lincoln Blackwood was introduced for the 2002 model year as Lincoln's first attempt at a luxury pickup truck. Based on the Ford F-150 Super Crew, it featured the front end and interior of the Lincoln Navigator. The idea was to create the ultimate utility vehicle, combining the comfort of a Lincoln Town car with the capability of a pickup truck. But here's where things got weird. The Blackwood's cargo bed wasn't like any other truck. It was carpeted, lined with polished aluminum panels, lit by LED lights, and covered by a power-operated hard tonneau cover that was permanently attached. Instead of a traditional tailgate, it had Dutch-style barn doors that opened from the middle. Basically, Lincoln created a truck bed that couldn't actually haul anything dirty, heavy, or useful. It was designed to carry luggage or golf clubs, not lumber or landscaping supplies. Oh, and it was rear-wheel drive only, so forget about taking it off-road or using it in the snow. The Blackwood was available in only one color, black. That's it. No other options. And it cost over $52,000, which was serious money in 2002. Unsurprisingly, the Blackwood was a massive commercial failure. Lincoln only sold about 3,383 units in the United States before pulling the plug after just one model year. A few more were sold in Mexico in 2003, but that was it. The Blackwood's 16-month production run made it the shortest-lived Lincoln model ever. For comparison, that same year, Cadillac sold over 13,000 Escalade EXT models, another luxury pickup, but one that actually functioned like a truck with four-wheel drive and a usable bed. Despite being a commercial disaster, the Blackwood was actually a pretty decent vehicle. Owners loved the luxurious interior, smooth ride, and the 300-horsepower V8 from the Navigator. Some owners have racked up over 300,000 miles on theirs with minimal issues. Today, you can find Blackwoods for surprisingly reasonable prices, often between $10,000 and $25,000. That's less than a new Honda Civic for a truck rarer than exotic sports cars. Not a bad deal if you want something truly unique. The Blackwood was ahead of its time. It predicted the rise of luxury trucks, but it got the execution wrong. Modern luxury trucks like the GMC Denali, Ford King Ranch, and Ram Limited sell like crazy because they're luxury trucks that can still work. The Blackwood was a luxury truck that couldn't. Number 1. GMC Railroad Crew Cab, 1962. And now, for the rarest vintage pickup truck ever built, the 1962 GMC Railroad Crew Cab. This truck is so rare that most people have never even heard of it. In 1962, GMC didn't build crew cab trucks at their factories. Instead, third-party coach builders created custom conversions for specialty applications. One of these applications was for the railroad industry. These weren't ordinary crew cabs. These trucks were purpose-built for railroad use. They featured rear flanged steel wheels and retractable front steel wheels that allowed them to drive on railroad tracks. Yes, you read that right. These pickups could drive on both roads and train tracks. The trucks used the GMC fender-side body style with a crew cab configuration, but with the special railroad equipment added. Under the hood, they typically came with a GMC V6 engine, though inline 6 and V8 options were available. Here's what makes them so incredibly rare. Only 7 were ever built. That's it, 7 trucks. And according to sources, only one of these specialty railroad pickups still exists in the United States. 3 others have been positively identified in Canada, but their exact locations and conditions are unknown. Think about that for a second. There's a better chance of finding a Ferrari 250 GTO or a Shelby Cobra Daytona Coupe than finding one of these GMC Railroad Crew Cabs. Because these trucks existed in industrial settings and were worked hard on railroads, most were likely scrapped or destroyed decades ago. The surviving example in the United States is occasionally seen at car shows, but it's so rare that many people mistake it for a custom truck rather than recognizing it as a factory-built specialty vehicle. The average price of a regular 1962 GMC C/K is around $27,000, but only a handful have sold in the last 5 years. If a genuine railroad crew cab ever came up for sale, the price would be astronomical. We're talking potential 6-figure territory for the right collector. The GMC Railroad Crew Cab represents the ultimate in automotive rarity. It's a truck that was built for a specific purpose, in tiny numbers, and almost all of them are gone. It's not just the rarest American pickup truck, it's one of the rarest American vehicles, period. So there you have it, 7 of the rarest vintage pickup trucks ever built. From the performance-focused Lil Red Express to the literally one-of-a-kind GMC Railroad Crew Cab, these trucks prove that sometimes the most interesting vehicles are the ones that almost nobody remembers. Which one surprised you the most? Drop a comment below and let us know. If you enjoyed this deep dive into automotive history, smash that like button and subscribe for more content about rare and forgotten vehicles that most people don't even know exist. Thanks for watching, and until next time, keep hunting for those rare rides.